Is it time to sell your condo in Myrtle Beach? Hello, this is Abe Safa with Century 21 Harrelson Group. Monitoring the market right now, looking at what's out there as far as condos, really starting to see a significant change in the condo market. The last, ever since about December, so our condo market has really taken off. We have seen some crazy, crazy appreciation in the condo market from December up until about April. A big spike, upwards of 20, 30, some buildings 40, 50% appreciation in price. But up until about middle of April, we started seeing a significant change, a good slowdown in the condo market. What I mean by a slowdown is inventory has begun to rise tremendously at a very rapid pace, while at the same time the number of units going on the contract is decreasing. What I'd like to do is share a chart with you of what's happening in oceanfront condos right now. So look at this chart here. This goes back to 2020s when I started tracking these numbers on a daily basis. So these numbers I look at every single day. As you can see, this is the top number is how many total oceanfront condos were on the market or are on the market. The bottom number is how many of those are actually under contract with a buyer. So you can see, right before things got hot before COVID, there was a big gap. So there's a lot of inventory, a lot of options for buyers. So we didn't see any appreciation in these condos, even though the housing market was already heating up and getting great appreciation. As you can see, then all of a sudden inventory started dropping quickly. At the same time, look at the number of pendings, that went up quickly. So you put the two together, it was creating this perfect storm of inventory just being depleted, a lot of buyer demand, everybody buying condos. And you can see it just inventory kept dropping, pendings were pretty much consistent. So while we were doing that, inventory was being depleted. It kept going down and down and down. And then when you look at right here, from here to about here was the hottest time in our market. And that was about a 9 to a 12-month window. The hottest part was about from here to here, which was about December of this past year up until about April. So as of April, look at what started happening. And the only way you can see this is by looking at these numbers daily. When you look at charts out there, when you look at reports, you look at other agents talking about the condo market, they really are not paying this close attention. They're just telling you right now inventory is still low. And it is, relatively speaking, we're still very low inventory. We're about a little over a month's supply of inventory, I think 1.3 months. Relative to like 4 or 5 years ago, we were at a 6 to 7 month supply of inventory. So put things in perspective here, it's still very, very low. But what I'm seeing is a very early indicator of a significant change. Look at here, as of about the middle of April, look at what's happened to inventory. Just straight up. That means this is just, again, oceanfront condos, a bunch of condos hitting the market. Now look at it, it's okay if they were still being gobbled up by the consumers. If consumers were out there, demand was still high, and they were buying these, it wouldn't be an issue because you can see we were about that level, but then still the pendings were good. Now inventory is growing at a high rate, but at the same time, the demand is going down. So the pendings are going down the complete opposite direction and creating this big gap. Okay, this big gap here is what's out there for consumers as far as options to purchase. So the bigger the gap, the more units there are to purchase on the oceanfront, which is going to do what? It's going to sway everything back onto the buyer's side. So the buyers are starting to get a lot of options and are able to come in lower price than they before. So this is the beginning of the shift in the oceanfront condo market. Now, we haven't seen it reflected in prices just yet. Prices have not dropped because this is still very, very early. But if this trend continues, there's no question in my mind that we're going to see prices start dropping in the oceanfront condos. I'm not saying there's going to be a crash. I'm not forecasting a crash. I don't think there's going to be a crash. But I don't think we're going to be able to sustain the prices that we've been getting the last 6 months. Now, having said that, I want to show you another chart here because it's not translating across the board to every single condo because not all condos are equal. Some buildings, some resorts are going to be in higher demand than others. Okay, and I'm going to show you real quick this other chart that I'm looking at. Give me 1 second. This is actually just a report. Take a look at this report. So these are the buildings that if you own in these buildings, I would be extremely concerned right now if price is important to you, and if you've been thinking about selling. Now, if you're not thinking about selling, price is not important to you, then it doesn't really matter what's happening in the market. Keep using your condo, keep enjoying it. We got a great beach. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you've been trying to time the market, if you've been waiting for the right moment to sell, okay, and you've been thinking about selling and you own one of these buildings, we need to have a conversation as soon as possible. So look at these buildings. Caravelle, okay, for the longest time, there was nothing on the market. While we were getting these crazy prices, and I know you've been getting the reports, you've been seeing what condos are selling for, and you've been seeing these prices that we've been getting. Okay, but there was nothing on the market in Caravelle. As soon as 1 unit, 2 units hit the market, they were just being gobbled up with multiple offers. Now you've got 29 units in Caravelle that you can choose from. Seamus, 29, Monterey Bay, 26, Landmark, 25. I sold the highest price condo in Landmark and in Monterey Bay. And Caravelle. All of these I've sold condos at really, really high prices, but there was nothing on the market when I listed those. Right? It would be the only one. Buyers are waiting. They pounced on it. Now you try to list something in a Landmark Resort, the buyer has 24 other options. Okay, so things like this are significantly starting to impact the types of offers we're getting, the number of offers we're getting, and the prices that we're getting. So once we go 30, 60, 90 days of some of these units closing at lower prices than what they've been selling for the last 4 or 5 months, then at that point, we're going to set a new benchmark for what the prices are, and it's going to start bringing the prices down. Barring any significant change, meaning like, okay, all of a sudden the Fed reverses their path and starts reducing interest rates and creates buyer demand again. I don't see that happening. I don't think anybody sees that happening with the rate of inflation that we're seeing right now. So I think things that can continue along the same path that we've been on. So if you see your building anywhere on here, we need to have a conversation about prices and where that building is heading as far as condo prices. If you don't see your building on here, then you still have very low inventory in your building, in your resort, and chances are we'll still be able to get you a great price right now. So if you are interested at all in selling, or even just want to have a conversation, no commitments, we'll have a conversation about what's happening in the market specific to your unit, give me a call. My number is 843-360-2145. Again, this is the beginning. It's a very early stages. It's still very low inventory relative to what we've had over the last 7 to 10 years. But again, it's a complete reversal of the way we've been heading the last 6 months. Again, Abe Safa here. If anything I can help you out with, please give me a call. Century 21 Harrelson Group, 843-360-2145. Thank you.